Y'all, and welcome back. It's Kanisha Birch. And before we get started, I just want to throw out a disclaimer, y'all. I am not a professional. Okay, now that we got that part out the way, I just wanted to put that out there because I'm not a professional, but I do consider myself to be very knowledgeable. And I say that because I have my master's degree in psychology with a concentration on ABA. And if y'all don't know what that is, ABA is Applied Behavioral Analysis, which is a treatment plan or a type of intervention that's used for children specifically with autism. Secondly, I am a teacher. I am a second grade teacher. I love it because I love kids. And with that being said, I also have my second master's and my bachelor's in early childhood education. And the most important thing that I feel is top of the list is the fact that I am a mother of a child with autism. So everything that you're experiencing, everything that you're wondering, and everything that you're going through, I've been there. And I just want to say, I hope that you subscribe so that I can support you along your journey. How strong? Autism.
What's that?
I'm here to just give you some information because you came here to figure out if your child is displaying signs of autism. So with that being said, I want you all to know that one, there is a broad range of symptoms or characteristics that children with autism may display. With that being said, it's very important that you, one, recognize the signs, okay? Two, you get your child evaluated. So you want to report that to your pediatrician, and in that case, they will probably reach out and reference you to have your child evaluated. And three, the most important thing is to get that treatment plan in place, okay? Treatment plan as far as, like I said, ABA or speech, occupational therapy, maybe even having them on a in some type of nutrition program, okay? So with that being said, and I have my notes here, so if y'all see me looking down, I'm just looking at my notes, okay? With that being said, again, there's such a broad range, but I'm going to tell you all about 6 characteristics of autism, all right? So I'm going to go down my list. First and foremost, some people want to know the time range, and I get that. Autism can start to display early, but most parents will really start to notice it when that child is kind of in their late 2s, early 3s. And you notice that because, like I noticed with my son, he was not reaching the developmental milestones that I was expecting. Signs that parents may witness or see in their child is the fact that their child may have a hard time communicating. Now, with that being said, when we talk about communication and we're talking about children with autism, we are talking about children whose speech is severely delayed, and some children even nonverbal as they are reaching age 2 and 3. Okay, so with that being said, we know that the delay comes in when the child is unable to communicate their needs effectively. Okay, so I'm going to drop a little video here so that you all are able to see where your child should be at milestone wise from just a few months or so, 6 months or so, all the way up to about 2 or 3 years old. So I'm going to drop that. You all can see by the time your child reaches 3 years old, they should have about 900 to 1,000 words in their vocabulary, and they should also begin to start speaking even in short sentences or even asking short questions. Okay, so like I said, communication is one of the top symptoms or signs that your child may be experiencing autism. We're going to move on to number 2. Number 2 on my list is social interaction. So like I talked about my son earlier and him not interacting with his peers, these are some of the social behaviors that a child with autism may display. They like to be isolated in a way. Okay, some other signs that your child may be experiencing or may be showing to you is just like inappropriate behavior, and that includes aggression, inappropriate touching. Another one that you will see and pretty early on is eye contact, and that's eye contact with you, that's eye contact with other people. And if you see your child just having a hard time when you say cheese and they don't want to look directly into the camera, that's another thing that could be just a sign of the child having autism. Okay, you'll also see that child experiencing like impulsivity, so don't get it confused with ADHD. Although a lot of kids with autism also get diagnosed with ADHD, but it's not to get it confused with ADHD. They are two separate diagnoses, and if you feel your child may have ADHD, it's important that you also get them evaluated separately for that different diagnosis. Okay, some kids even participate in self-harm, so you may see them bite themselves, bang their head on the floor, on the wall, or something like that in that nature. Also, this is another one that is big. Autism kids also may struggle with just empathy, just learning to understand people's emotion from their perspective. What I mean by that is they do stuff, but they don't understand how their actions are affecting others. Okay, so sometimes with that disconnect, I guess with that social environment, children with autism have a hard time just connecting with other people and kind of understanding how others see things from their perspective and how they may feel based on, you know, their actions. So, and we are moving on to number 3. So number 3 is obsessive interest. Okay, now let me put this out here. Kids, they're interested in things, that is normal. But when we talk about overly obsessive, like overly obsessive with things, okay, and that does not mean that it's going to be one thing. It could possibly be more than one thing. So for example, my son was overly obsessed with cars and trains. He loved cars and trains. Don't give him nothing else. He want cars and trains. Okay, he have a feat on his birthday. I want cars. I want trains. So overly obsessive with objects, maybe textures or anything like that. Maybe even a movie or something that they want to continuously watch over and over and over again, and you can see that they're obsessed with that. There's another sign of autism. Okay, so with that being said, I wanted to also mention this fact that I found out. 84% of autistic kids have some form of anxiety. Okay, and I also found out that 17% specifically have OCD. Okay, so I noticed with my son, while he was very obsessed with those cars, he would also be very OCD about those cars. So he didn't want nobody touching them. He didn't want dirt on them. He always wanted to line them up in a straight line. So you will see kids with autism line things up in a straight line. Okay, so those are just some signs of that your child may display if they have autism. All right, y'all, welcome back. We are on number 4, and the number 4 sign or symptom that you may see your child displaying if they have autism is repetitive behaviors. So repetitive behaviors is exactly what it sounds like. It is when a child is repetitively doing something over and over again. So with that being said, you may see that their child has repetitive behavior with objects. So maybe they just keep moving that car, flying that plane, flying that plane. They're doing it over and over and over again. You can also see the child have repetitive behavior with their body movement. So this comes when the child is rocking. They may be flapping their hands. You can see a child doing it as far as repeating sounds over and over, or repeating lines from movies, or maybe even the lyrics from a song. But they're going to do that over and over and over again, okay? Now, another one that I know that my autism moms who already, or dads or families that already know about autism, is we understand that children with autism love their repetitive routine, okay? They want to do things the same way every single day. Now, there is a limit on that. Some kids are more flexible and they have the ability to adjust better than others. But there are some kids who like things done a certain way every single day. And that is another sign of repetitive behavior that you may see a child displaying. And the reason why they like their routine so much is because it helps them cope with their environment. Okay, so we talked about how anxiety is kind of related back to autism and OCD. So with that being said, children with autism, they really like for things to stay the same. You know, it's like us as adults. Like, we like to sometimes control our environment. If we've been through something traumatic, maybe a relationship or something. Okay, next time, I'm not going to do this in my relationship. You know, you're going to have more control. So that's another reason why children with autism are displaying some types of repetitive behaviors when it comes to their routine. All right, so now we're going to move on to number 5. Y'all stay tuned. All right, this is another one that's very visible. So we're on number 5, and number 5 is picky eaters. Yes, believe it or not, picky eaters. Now, I get it. I get it, y'all. Some kids are just picky eaters. I'm a picky eater. I don't eat certain things, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I have autism. And just because your child is a picky eater does not mean that they have autism either. But it is a sign that you can look for, okay? So with that being said, when we talk about picky eaters, we are talking about the child being very specific about what they eat. So, for example, my son, he only wants chicken nuggets, pizza, like hot dogs. You know, us in the autism world, we talk about how those 3 things are just the autism food, okay? Because a lot of our autistic kids love chicken nuggets, pizza, and hot dogs. Okay, so when we talk about showing that sign of being a picky eater, and we're talking about kids with autism, we will see those children delete an entire category of food out of their diet. So with that being said, a lot of kids with autism do not want anything to do with fruits and vegetables. Okay, so we see that commonly in the autism world. That does not mean all kids with autism doesn't do it. It just means that a lot of kids or a lot of parents that I know of have a hard time getting their children to eat fruits and vegetables. And this is normally caused by just their anxiety of trying new food. They may not like the texture. The color of it may look kind of weird to them. And it just, you know, they don't want to have any part in it. Okay, so now we're going to move on to number 6. All right, y'all, we are almost to the finish line. I'm here with number 6. Okay, so number 6 on my list is sensory sensitive. So autism kids can be either overly sensitive or undersensitive to noise, lights, textures, smells, and taste. So with that being said, children with autism are just known to either take in too much or too little when it comes to their senses. And with that being said, this can cause them to be very irritable. So with that being said, a lot of parents in the autism world notice that their child may be very sensitive to sound. So if a noise is too loud, you can see the child literally cover their ears and letting their parents know that that sound is too loud for them. So this is another way in which you can identify signs and symptoms of your child may be experiencing autism. So thank you all so much for tuning in. For those of you who stayed to the end of the video, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to be putting out so much good information that you may be able to use later on if your child is diagnosed with autism. So with that being said, please, if you are seeing some of these signs in your child, please make sure that you have that child evaluated so that child can start early intervention as soon as possible. Early intervention is so important, okay? It's so important so that your child can be as successful as possible if they are diagnosed with autism. So I'm going to hit you all back with those 6 signs just so we can have a refresher from number 1. All right, so number 1 was communication. Okay, have a difficulty communicating. Number 2 was social interactions. Number 3 was obsessive interest. Number 4 was repetitive behavior. Number 5, we see that picky eater. And number 6, last but not least, sensory sensitive. So again, y'all, please hit the subscribe button below. Please hit the like button below and turn on your notification, just so that when I post new videos, you can get that information immediately. So again, happy to see y'all so much. Goodbye until next time.